Yes. Since IA has returned home with Mr. Alvarez, he is thriving in the home environment. When visiting with him, IA states nothing but great things of how much fun he has been having with Mr. Alvarez, with the other family members in the household.
Mr. Young, can you tell us how IA is currently doing after he's been placed with his father?
Yes. Since IA has returned home with Mr. Alvarez, he is thriving in the home environment. When visiting with him, IA states nothing but great things of how much fun he has been having with Mr. Alvarez, with the other family members in the household, along with just how he has been excited at his school, and things have been going good in the home.
He's doing well in school, correct?
That is correct.
He's up to date on all medical and dental.
Yes.
And counseling has been going on through the school, correct?
It still is at the school. However, since our last court hearing, how it was recommended that we get a therapist recommendation regarding parenting times for IA and Ms. Hernandez, I was able to make a referral to the Family Outreach Center, and IA started therapy through the Family Outreach Center on December 4th. However, at this time, we don't have that recommendation yet. When I spoke with the therapist last, she said that we should have it sometime this month.
Okay. And your recommendation is for this case to close, correct?
That is correct.
And so would they be able to continue to work with IA?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you think the court needs to know about IA?
Not at this time.
Okay. It looks like Ms. Hernandez has come back and reengaged, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. She's back living with her grandmother?
Yes, and I was able to view the home, which was appropriate. Ms. Hernandez was able to show me all of the food that she had in the fridge, along with IA's room if he were to be returned into her care, along with just like various items that she had for IA, along with some of like Christmas gifts that she had for IA that she actually did drop off at the agency, and I was able to give IA. So he was very excited about that. But overall, the home environment was appropriate.
Okay. She's employed.
That is correct. When I met with Ms. Hernandez, she let me know that she was no longer working at the factory as she was previously employed at. However, recently started working at a Wendy's located in Wyoming.
Did she provide you any documentation?
She did forward me like her payments that she got deposited into her check account. Yes.
Okay. Were you able to prepare a budget with her?
Yes, we were. And so through that, with the budget, she stated that she pays $500 for rent, along with she like various other amounts like clothing, like groceries, things like that. Each amount was varied, but her total expenses that she said that she pays a month was $1,700.
And she had sufficient income to meet her needs?
Yes, she reported no concerns.
Okay. She has re-engaged with taking her medication, correct?
That is correct.
And you've been able to verify that?
Yes, I've been in communication with her psychiatrist at Network 180, and just recently, which I think was in the exhibit that I submitted on December 27th, I had asked for an update, or I think it was the 23rd, my apologies. I just had asked for an update if she's still been attending all of her appointments through Network 180, how she has been. It was reported that she has not missed any appointments. She's still getting her injection, and they had no reports. They said that she was fully engaged in the service, and they just recommended that that still be her main priority at this time.
Okay. Have you made any other referrals for Miss Hernandez since she's re-engaged?
Not at this time, not yet. I do plan, if the case does not close today, and if it remains open, there is a trauma-informed parenting course through Wedgwood that starts on February 25th, and it goes through until April. That was just unfortunately the next available course since the new year. So that will be made if the case remains open.
Okay. And with regard to parenting time, she has not seen Isaiah in quite a while, correct?
That is correct. She does text me on a regular basis, just checking in on him, asking how he's doing. I give her that update along with, I do acknowledge just her patience that she has had since not being able to see IA. And she also just recently, like I said, she's dropped off Christmas gifts for IA, and I was able to give IA for that. And IA let me take a picture of him, so I was able to send that to Miss Hernandez, so she was able to receive that he got the gifts, and she just appreciated that.
And the counseling that he's been referred to is really going to delve into whether or not IA wants to begin parenting with Miss Hernandez, correct?
That is correct. During our intake, IA was very hesitant to talk about Miss Hernandez about it. You could tell he was just very emotional. And the therapist just had asked if he preferred me to stay in while they talked about her, or if they preferred me to step out. At first, IA asked if I could step out, and so I did, and then I was brought back into the room. He had a hard time asking, or not asking, telling like things about Miss Hernandez. So the therapist had asked me certain questions about IA, so I was able to answer, and then she would look for like reinsurance, like confirmation from IA if that was true or not. He said yes. There was a few times like he just stated like he does care for Miss Hernandez a lot, and he does have a lot of love for her, but just at this time he's just not ready to visit with her yet.
Anything else the court needs to know about Miss Hernandez?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, my bad. She did during our meeting that I had with her afterwards. She did let me know that she was getting a new vehicle. I don't have documentation of the vehicle, like license or proof of registration yet, but I will get that. But at this time, it's to the agency's understanding that she does have reliable transportation.
Okay. Let's talk about Mr. Alvarez. Mr. Alvarez has successfully completed his parent agency treatment plan. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
He successfully completed the KRP.
that is correct. They closed services on December 27th. Along with they had one last meeting with Mr. Alvarez to sign the closing report on January 3rd, which I haven't gotten that report yet, but once I do, I will provide that to the court.
So they felt that he didn't really need any additional services.
Yeah, they just stated that there was no risk for Mr. Alvarez in the home. We talked about substance use and all that due to Mr. Alvarez's history. At that time, they rated him as a low risk, as Mr. Alvarez has tested negative for all substances this reporting period, which is amazing.
So your testimony is he tested negative the whole report
Oh,
period,
yes.
not
Yes, sorry.
positive the
Yes, sorry,
entire
negative.
report period. Okay. Are there any other services that Mr. Alvarez needed to complete?
No, we are still currently looking into that substance abuse counseling. However, FRP didn't deem that was necessarily. The agency also does not have concerns, but I have been in communication with Samaritas, where he previously went, and we're just kind of trying to figure that out and seeing if we're able to try to get a sliding scale work, since Mr. Alvarez doesn't have like Medicaid to cover that. So we're just kind of going off a sliding scale.
Okay. He's employed, correct?
That is correct.
He has housing.
Yes, and it is appropriate every time that I visited Mr. Alvarez in the home along with IA since he has returned home. There's been no concerns. It's always clean, organized. As IA's bed is always made. Toys are cleaned up. Always food in the fridge. No concerns.
Okay, and Mr. Alvarez lives with his live-together partner, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and the relationship is stable, it looks like, from the reports, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Are there any other services that could be afforded to Mr. Alvarez that you think he may need?
Not at this time.
Okay. What are your recommendations for today?
It is respectfully recommended that IA remain in the care of Mr. Alvarez and IA be discharged from foster care.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Newhouse.
Thank you. So I guess I'm a little confused as to if the case discharges, how is Ms. Hernandez gonna work services and try to get at least supervised visitation?
If the case closes, it's my expectation that Ms. Hernandez continue to work those services for herself. So she's able to maintain her mental health and just get to that appointment along with through the front of the court, which Ms. Hernandez and Mr. Alvarez could figure out a parenting time. And so if she did have supervised parenting time, that would be discussed.
Well, but I thought this was all hinging on a therapist working with IA and deeming it was appropriate. It sounds to me like that would just stop. She'd be on her own and she'd have to go to friend of court and work on the issue there.
We would still get the therapist recommendation, and then that would be submitted to the court, and hopefully, or I could submit that also to the friend of the court, so they have that discussing through their recommendations regarding
Yeah, but
parenting time.
you won't be involved anymore. So how are you going to do that?
Well, I would still, for the family at least, I would still send that to ensure that that copy be sent.
Okay, and at the last hearing, it was part of your testimony that Ms. Hernandez had become reengaged as early as October 7th. Is that right?
That is correct.
So she has quite a period of time here that she's been reengaged.
That is correct.
October, November, December, 3 months, right?
Yes.
And at that time, we were talking about the trauma-informed parenting class. You still think that would be beneficial to her?
Yes, I do.
How's she going to do that if you're not involved anymore?
That is a service that I could still, I could give her the information for, or at this time I could still enroll her for that February course. So then I could give her the details for that, as that would be a virtual course. So that's something that she could participate in.
Okay, but and then the third thing I've noted here is that we discussed substance abuse therapy for the father, and I understand it's an insurance issue and all of that, but that's another loose end, right?
Like I had stated, the agency does not have concerns for Mr. Alvarez with substance use, as he has tested negative throughout this whole reporting period, and even in the previous reporting period, there was a lot of negative tests. Minus the ones for THC, but that was worked around to make sure that that was received through like a dispensary and things like that. Along with FRP, when working with Mr. Alvarez, they did not find a substance abuse.
We're told the child is not just safe, but thriving, happy, and fully settled in his father's home. School is going well, medical needs are covered, and the environment is stable. On the surface, this sounds like a success story. But listen closely. This calm beginning quietly sets the stage for a much bigger question.
Concern. So that is something that we're still looking into. And if that's something that the court would want, then that's something I would expect that Mr. Alvarez would follow through that. And if he ever felt he started having a concern around wanting to use again, I would hope that he would be able to utilize his supports around him. I believe that he would be able to find therapy for himself to address that too. But at this time, I don't think that is a concern.
Well, I don't want to minimize the efforts he's made and his sobriety and all of that, because he's made significant changes in his life. However, he did go to prison for drug issues. Is that right?
That is correct. But Mr. Alvarez did do his time for that. So I don't think that's something that can be used against him.
Well, no, but it's part of his history, and we have to deal with people's history in our neglect court, right?
That is correct. And Mr. Alvarez did participate in substance abuse counseling prior.
Okay. And given all the things that could still be done on this case that I just went through with you, you still are recommending discharge today?
That is correct.
All right, thank you. Nothing further.
Ms. Gaston.
Thank you. Mr. Young, you've indicated that this Wedgwood program for trauma-informed parenting might still be available to Ms. Hernandez?
That is correct.
And I missed the dates that you indicated it started and ended.
It starts on February 25th, and I think the last I looked, it went all the way through April 4th.
Here, we hear about the mother's major comeback: medication compliance, consistent psychiatric care, and verified engagement with mental health services. On paper, she's doing everything right. Yet, despite all this progress, the reality is far more complicated.
All right. You also testified that you had family outreach involved in therapy for IA, but you said something about parenting time. Are they also making a recommendation for parenting time?
Yes. So during our intake with IA, I ensured that they would be able to address any concerns that IA wants to talk about during therapy. Along with, I made sure that the therapist would be able to make a parenting time recommendation for IA.
And when you say that, you mean regarding his willingness to engage in parenting time. Is that right?
That is correct.
Because they're not working with Ms. Hernandez. Am I correct in that?
That is correct. This is solely just a service for IA.
All right. And will you be able to obtain those records so that you can forward them to counsel for Ms. Hernandez and Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. When I spoke to the therapist last, she just stated that she still had to do like goal setting and building with IA before she could make that recommendation. And then she was also still trying to, around the holidays, since he just started on December 4th, it was kind of hard to have those weekly sessions. But now that the holidays are, they're continuing with those weekly sessions. So she let me know that she believes that she'll be able to have that recommendation by the end of the month.
Okay. You are indicating that you're able to get those records. Could releases be signed for, you will be out of the case technically if we discharge, correct?
That is correct, but I'm sure that Mr. Alvarez would be fine signing a release.
Okay. So that I could get those records and Ms. Van Dyken could get those records on the civil side of this matter. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. With regard to Mr. Alvarez, I mean, we've been in this case for over a year and a half at this point, and he has worked extremely hard with the goal in mind of keeping IA out of the system. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And he has successfully done everything you've asked of him.
That is correct.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Ms. Mobilia, any follow-up?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Newhouse, any follow-up?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Any additional witnesses, Ms. Mobilia?
No additional witnesses or evidence, Your Honor.
Ms. Newhouse, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
After months of services, arguments, and second chances, the judge steps in with a final decision. The court finds the child is safe, the risk is gone, and continued oversight is no longer necessary.
Ms. Gaston, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Statements, Ms. Mobilia?
Your Honor, I ask the court to adopt the recommendation and discharge IA from wardship. Mr. Alvarez has successfully completed his parent agency treatment plan, including KRP. There is a court order in place for legal and physical custody. Also a referral in that order to Friends of the Court for an evaluation, and I'm certainly sure that a friend of the court can get any records to make recommendations, IAs and counseling to assist friend of the court and to assist IA. So at this time, Your Honor, I believe the recommendations are appropriate.
Great, thank you. Ms. Newhouse?
Thank you. I don't want to minimize Mr. Alvarez's achievements in this. I'm not saying this because he has done a lot of work, but I do think discharge is premature. there's several pretty big loose ends on this case, and I think it's in the minor's best interest to resolve those things before we discharge. Ultimately, I think it's in IA's best interest to have two healthy parents, visitation parenting time with two healthy parents. And Ms. Hernandez has shown that she is following through with her treatment plan. That's been going on since early October at our last review. There were many positive things said about her, and that her mental health was her big barrier, but she was working on that. By all accounts today, she's actively involved with Network 180 and making all of her appointments and getting her injection. And I just think we're setting her up for failure to see her child if we discharge at this point. At the last hearing, we recommended that a therapist be asked to weigh in on the visitation parenting time with IA, and he only just began with that person, and we don't have anything back. That would be so helpful, and I think that could occur in the next reporting period, whether or not she should have at least supervised parenting time. Otherwise, if we discharge today, she has nothing. The referral for her to the trauma-informed parenting class, I think, is extremely important for her, and I think that would also piggyback in with what the therapist is asked to report back on. I'd like her to show that she's able to do that. That starts relatively quickly and could be almost completed by the time we're back in here. If we do a 3-month review, that would be very helpful as well. And then the substance abuse therapy for the father, I think, there's been insurance issues. That's not his fault, but it sounds like that there's some loose ends that they can follow up with on that as well. And I would like to see another 3-month review in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gaston.
Thank you, Your Honor. I, like Ms. Mobilia, support the recommendations. I would note that not to fault Ms. Hernandez's current situation, but we've had on again, off again participation with her mental health, which was the reason that this case was opened. Mr. Alvarez has completed everything that's been asked of him. IA has been returned to his home, and there's no services left to provide for him, although substance use counseling might be beneficial. He has proven that he is abstaining from the use of substances. So I would ask the court to follow the recommendations.
Thank you. Ms. Van Dyken?
I concur with the statements made by Ms. Newhouse, Your Honor. Doing the family law case, it would be helpful to have these additional services in place for Ms. Hernandez at this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The court finds that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the requirements of the statute, that this time returning this child to a parent would not cause a substantial risk of harm to the child's life, physical health, or mental well-being, that the child's continued placement is no longer necessary or appropriate. And the court terminates the jurisdiction of this court. The court reserves the right to enforce payments of reimbursement that have accrued up into and including the date of the order. This child is released to Mr. Alvarez. There is as everyone has alluded to, there is a domestic relations case that is currently open and has been referred to the front of the court regarding parenting time, and they are certainly able to obtain any of the records that are necessary in order to assist them in their recommendation. But as far as this child protective case, this child is safe with the parent and the case should be closed. I'll discharge the attorneys.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank
thank
you, Your
you.
Honor.
We're adjourned.